William Masterson, retired teacher at John Jay High School for many years. Karen Whalen, retired teacher of many years for Wappinger Central School District, also passed away. Glenn Barnes, retired bus driver with Wappinger Central School District for 18 years. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. 4.01, motion to open public hearing on extending the partial tax exemption for seniors.
Resolved that the Board of Education does hereby open the public hearing on extending the partial tax exemption for senior citizens.
Motion. Mr. McFarland, second. Mr. Capillari. All those in favor? Thank you. 4.02, presentation on extending the senior citizen partial tax exemption. Ms. Dainty. Thank you.
Good evening. This evening we will have a brief presentation regarding the tax exemption for senior citizens, which is Real Property Tax Law 47, and the extension of that tax exemption for the 26-27 school year. Real Property Tax Law Section 467 expands property tax relief for eligible senior citizens. The district has in the past approved this exemption. However, this is a bit expanded and also renews an exemption that had expired for the 26-27 school year, and it's effective July 1st of 2026. The timeline for completion for this would be the school district to take any action prior to March 1st, because that is when the information is shared with the local municipalities, and this information can be added to the tax rolls for the 26-27 school year. The district received this information in a client advisory memo from our district attorneys, and therefore have reviewed the resolution that we do have on the agenda for this evening. In the past, most recent past, December of 2022, we had a 467 exemption approval by this Board of Education. Thank you very much. And it was a partial exemption, and it allowed seniors to receive up to a 50% exemption of their taxes based on their earnings, which are on a sliding scale. So what has occurred is that we have added approximately $5,000, I think, of lower income allowability, therefore providing the exemption from 50% to 65%, because 50 is what we've had in the past. That is about all of the information that I have to share on this real property tax exemption number 467.
As everyone's making their way back, thank you, Ms. Dainty, for that. I know we don't have a ton of information on that, but I do appreciate what you've been able to share. And if anybody has any questions, they can always reach you through your email, and I do appreciate that. Does anybody on the board have a question? Mr. Lumia, she doesn't have a lot. She pretty much has that, so I hope it's not too far off.
Just out of curiosity, how much additional revenue must be raised for those making $1 more than whatever it is, $58,399? How much additional revenue must be raised for those who are making $1 more than?
Depends on the
58.
exemption of their property.
I'm sorry?
So it depends on the assessed value of their property and the tax rate in that year.
I'm aware of that, but how much additional, offhand, do we know how much additional revenue must be raised?
It depends on the cost of the property and the tax rate in place at the time.
Every house is different and every year is
I'm
different.
aware of that.
But yeah, maybe can you ask it to me another way?
Let me try to ask the question differently.
By giving them a reduction, who's going to pay for the difference?
That's basically it.
That's what you're asking.
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry, Trustee McFarland.
Mr. McFarland, can you repeat that for her?
But what Mr. Lumiere is trying to ask is that by reducing the tax base on that real estate, who's going to make up the difference? We're gonna-
I can answer one. I can answer that one. That's not a problem. Thank you. So
you.
in the,
See,
so
some people understand me better than others.
I understand Italian.
So the district currently has 7 municipalities, and each of those 7 municipalities have a piece of our tax levy, therefore a responsibility to pay towards that. That is based on assessed values of the properties within the districts. It's going back up. I mean, within the towns. So if a taxpayer in your situation, as you had just asked, lived in Fishkill, then all of the other non-homestead, meaning personal home owners, would take up that additional piece. That happens that way with every exemption, when we've done this for volunteer firefighters, when we've done this for disabled people, disabled citizens as well. That's how it happens. It just shifts the responsibility within that same piece of the pie because it's broken down by assessed values.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions? No? 4.03, input on extending the partial tax exemption for senior citizens. No comments. 4.04, resolution extending real property tax exemption pursuant to section 467.
Whereas Section 467 of the New York Real Property Tax Law, RPTL, provides for a partial exemption from taxation on residential property owned by senior citizens, and whereas the Board of Education has previously adopted resolutions extending the partial exemption provisions of Section 467 of the RPTL to such qualified persons, and whereas the New York governor signed legislation enhancing the partial exemptions and modifying the income eligibility limits for persons qualifying for such partial exemption, and whereas the Board of Education adopted income eligibility limits applicable through the 2025-2026 school year on December 5th, 2022, and whereas the Board of Education desires to adopt the enhanced partial exemptions available to qualified persons meeting the income threshold limits corresponding to such partial exemptions, and to extend the same income eligibility limits currently in effect for the 2025-2026 school year for ensuing fiscal years until further amended by the Board of Education. And whereas the Board of Education has held a public hearing regarding the extension of such enhanced partial exemptions available to qualified persons meeting the income threshold limits corresponding to such partial exemptions, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education does hereby extend the income eligibility limits for the partial tax exemption previously authorized pursuant to Section 467 of the Real Property Tax Law as modified by the enhanced partial exemptions and corresponding income eligibility threshold limits now available in accordance with the schedule as stated.
Do I have a motion? Mr. McFarland, second. Mr. Lumia, any discussions? All those in favor? Unanimous. Motion to close the public hearing.
Resolved that the Board of Education does hereby close the public hearing and resumes the board meeting.
Motion, Mr. Odom, second. Mr. Capelari, all those in favor? Unanimous. 5.01, Superintendent's Spotlight on Programs, Project-Based Learning. We should try that.
Thank you, President Johnson, members of the Board of Education, members of the Wappinger Central School District community. Before we move into our presentation, I need to thank once again our facilities, operations, custodians, driver, cleaners, all of the individuals who have worked tirelessly to prepare us to open as we did today, as we did the day after the last storm. We have 15 different building locations. We also have 3 transportation compounds, and the work that was done is absolutely incredible. I'd like to say, hopefully that will be it for this year. But as I speak to you now, I have a conference call with a meteorologist tomorrow morning at 4:15. As it appears, believe it or not, there may be some inclement weather rolling into the district. And I'm also being told, as I've made my way to the meeting this evening, is they're talking about a potential storm next week. So needless to say, I don't think winter is leaving us anytime soon, but we can be very, very proud that we are served extremely well by all of the individuals in the facilities, operations, maintenance department, our head custodians, our drivers. You have to remember, we have well over 250 buses, and in order to plow those areas, those buses have to be cleaned, they have to be moved, they have to be moved again, and they have to be moved again. And when you have a foot plus of snow, that makes it that much of a challenge. So I would ask the board to please congratulate and recognize our employees. And I thank them for doing an absolutely outstanding job. President Johnson, as you mentioned, project-based learning, the district has been doing it for the past few years, and we've been offering extensive opportunities for students to participate in project-based learning, to learn the relevance and the real-world application of what they're learning and how they will use it and apply it in the future. They're personally engaged and involved in real-world activities and meaningful projects. Tonight, we're going to have 2 presentations that will be done by staff that are integral to this. And we also have Bishop John Williams, who is the area representative from the New York State School Boards Association. He will be the 3rd presenter. And at that point, President Johnson will introduce him and he will proceed with his part of the program. But needless to say, these types of programs are monumental. And these individuals that you're going to be hearing from tonight have been recognized not only regionally, but throughout the state for their efforts. So they come here this evening to share some of the work that they've done. And fortunately, myself and members of the Board of Education and the senior team have had the opportunity to interact and be involved in these projects. And it's truly awe-inspiring. So let's start with the first presentation this evening. That comes from our technology integration specialists. And I can tell you that these individuals were on the cutting edge during the COVID pandemic. As you know, we had to endure remote learning. We didn't have a choice in that matter, but the work of these individuals not only served as a model here in this district, but it served as a model in the region and throughout New York State. And we've been able to take some of the work that they've done and integrate it into the classroom and make the classroom come to life. So let's first start with our 2 technology integration specialists, Mr. Dan Roberto, Mr. Andrew Nicola, and the fine job that is being done by our Director of Technology, Mr. Outshouten. Could you please approach the stage, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you very much. Give them a round of applause, please.
Thanks, Mr. Morgan. You want to start? Sure. Ready? Give me the mic. Good evening, everybody. Thank you. My name is Andrew Nicole, along with Dan Roberto and our director, Art Choutwin. I want to thank Dr. Bonk and members of the Board of Education for having us here this evening, and the senior staff. We appreciate your support in everything we do. And I know we're talking about PBL, and we're going to talk, pretty where it's rooted and everything like that. But Dan and I won't allude too much, I'll let him talk about it, is we do a lot with PBL, but it's also rooted in the principles of UDL, which is the Universal Design for Learning. And we want to ensure that all the students in Wappingers have the equitable access to rigorous learning experiences. So we really try to tie that in with all of the teachers and colleagues that we work with. We also look at it as the SAMR model, and we want to make sure that all three of those, PBL, UDL, and SAMR, kind of create that framework that levels up education in Wappingers for our students, our colleagues, administration, and everything. And it promotes innovation, inclusivity, and deeper learning for all of our students.
And I would just like to build on what Andrew was saying. We look at what can happen in the classroom, and it's amazing. And we've gone through the philosophy of innovation comes through inclusion. So as Andrew mentioned, we looked at the policies of UDL, the Universal Design for Learning. How can we provide in all of our classrooms multiple means of representation, multiple means of engagement, and multiple means of action and expression by the students? So if we can empower the students through inquiry and then have the inclusive practices through digital platforms and digital learning spaces, we can really see innovation happen in the classroom.
All right, without further ado, we put this together to kind of give you a little trailer, a little snapshot of what happens in Wappingers with the technology integration team. figured we change up our presentation format, so that's why we kind of did a video of all just a little snapshot into the projects that are happening across the district. So Dan and I go K through 12, so we are all the way up from embedded in the youngest learners in the classrooms, all the way up to our seniors, as you can see, and doing podcasts and everything else. And that was a real Emmy Award winner we had in there at that studio at Ketchum High School. If you look back at that, that is a real Emmy that we had. We were very fortunate to have him come in and work with the students. But just gives an overview of kind of what we were saying with the PBL projects and how it's rooted with the UDL and SAMR models. You have anything else, Dan?
No, I would just, I think Andrew summed it up perfectly, but, I just like to thank everyone here at the table and everything. They've allowed, us to really go out and have the opportunity to work with teachers and bring in, some really practical solutions that can reach every learner at every level. So that's all I would have to add.
Thanks, Art.
Thanks, Art.
No, I was going to say, most importantly, thank you to the board and thank you, Dr. Bonk, for supporting us and coming out when we have these crazy ideas sometimes and need judges and participants to help work with the students. You're always there to help us and support us, so we thank you for that as well. Thank you.
So once again, a round of applause, please, for our technology integration specialists. This is real world stuff that's going on here, and our kids are participating here in Wappingers, and we're so proud of everyone who is a part of this. And I also want to thank the individual from the senior staff administration that oversees this, Dr. Michelle Cardwell from Curriculum and Instruction. Great work, Dr. Cardwell. Thank you very much. At this point, it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Salmon and Mrs. Kohler, who are going to come up. They're going to talk a little bit more about project-based learning. Come on up, please. And by the way, they are published authors as well.
So published authors, we recently wrote our second edition, and that's what we left up here for all of the board members. And what we wanted to share with that is the work that's in that book is this district. We're lucky to have this opportunity, the inspiration, the ideas. It's all part of the freedoms that we're allowed and the autonomy that we're allowed because of the leadership in the district, because of the building principals, because of the students that we work with. So we're extremely grateful. So tonight's presentation, we've talked about project-based learning at several different meetings. This one's going to take a slightly different tone. We have some student videos embedded because we wanted to bring the voices of students here tonight. It's hard for us to get out to every classroom with all the students to be able to bring those students here and organize it with family schedules. So we made sure we went to them and we're bringing their voices to you. So we have snapshots from the classroom, interview formats where students are going to be working on stuff tonight. So we're very thankful to be here.
How's the clicker work? Is it not on? There we go. Okay. Oops.
Look at us figuring it out.
Of course, we want to start off by thanking our Board of Ed, central office staff, and Dr. Bonk. We would definitely not be standing before you without the support. And so I just want to give a round of applause for all of the people that are listed up here.
So as we do with all of this, project-based learning is the umbrella in which all the other instruction falls, as Dan and Andrew were talking about earlier, UDLs, direct instruct, workshop models. Project-based learning is an overarching umbrella. And so with that understanding, it requires a lot of collaboration from different departments. And so there's a lot of opportunities that we have where we'll work with Dan and Andrew as part of our tech integration with Art. We have Audrey, who is our director, who's here tonight, which we're always so thankful for. We have the humanities side of the house with Jenny Cernella and Krista Marino and Christine Blake that we get to collaborate with, because project-based learning is not just the STEAM part of what we do. There's the writing that's part of it. There's the tech integration that's part of it. There's the reading that goes into it. And so we always like to acknowledge the whole professional development team.
So we're going to start with this one quote. When students believe their work matters, they begin to see themselves differently, they begin to think differently, and they begin to work differently. And so we are trying to change the story of our students, where it's not just worksheets, paper, pencil, right? We're trying to build experiences that help students see themselves from a different perspective.
So we're going to run through this growth progression: authenticity, responsibility, autonomy, and ultimately ownership. And this is from the student perspective. And this is kind of the view or the lens that we like to try and create as we're working through designing learning experiences with kids.
And so, Portrait of a Graduate, we know that this is hanging out there. We know it's coming down. Rubrics are being worked on, and we can't ignore it. We're staying in front of it with our youngest learners, starting even in kindergarten, and working on that plan all the way up through our high schoolers that it will impact directly in the next couple of years. And so, when we think about why now with project-based learning, it directly aligns with the Portrait of a Graduate skills. We want our graduates to come out thinking critically, knowing how to communicate ideas, solving problems, being reflective learners. These aren't add-ons. These must be practiced through real work. So we don't teach these skills after content. All of the skills listed on our Portrait of a Graduate, we have them happening throughout the content, throughout the lessons, throughout the experiences.
So this is a big one in society today, is artificial intelligence. And so why now? AI is going to be changing and is changing the landscape of education as we know it. If we sit back and we think of it as schools that we're going to train our kids to recognize patterns or generate options or optimize given constraints, if we're going to train them to compete against AI, they're going to lose. AI is superior at certain tasks. However, if we prioritize defining problems, questioning outputs, weighing trade-offs, designing for humans, taking responsibility, that's where humans shine. And that's what we're looking for in project-based learning, is where do the humans shine? How can we bring that humanity to it? So when information is abundant, meaning matters most. So helping kids understand that and work through it. We're in an AI era right now, and there used to be a discussion of that it was consumption versus creation. And really what we have is we have a new design. It's critical consumption that feeds creation. Because what we have to do is we have to take the processes, the deep fakes that are out there, the AI processing that our children are going to have to do. They're going to actually have to think critically about all these inputs and then create from it. And so that's what we're looking at with project-based learning, is that it helps us address some of these challenges.
And so traditional concern is, where does PBL fit into instruction? This is not something separate. PBL gives instruction the destination, okay? It becomes purposeful, and lessons answer two questions. Why do I need this, and how am I going to use it? How will I use this?
So we have some student voice right here. I want to start with the interview from the student and have them share, and then I'll come in and talk on the backside of it. So from the voice of our students, a public product, when we're thinking about it, is it's beyond the idea of just handing in a paper and pencil test to a teacher. It's a real problem that our children are using their intellect. When we talk about PBL, we often say fundamentally shifting how we interact with knowledge. Our children are learning these concepts that they have to learn in their class, and what they're doing is they're using it and applying it in real world scenarios. In this particular case he's talking about, we took it's part of an ecosystem unit that the students are working on, and they took Hudson River water and tested it, and they identified that the parts per million of lead in the water are extremely high. And so what are the water filtrations? They met with Senator Rollison and had discussions how that is happening and how we're using it. But there are 7 different communities in our area that use that water as part of their drinking water. So our children wanted to sit back and think about innovative designs on how they can do this, how they can filter down to parts per million. What does that even mean? And so when we think about it, how this ties to Portrait of a Graduate, critical thinking, communication, reflection, transfer, this is all part of it. This is where we want to bring our students, not just the test, but how do they solve real problems in the world? And how does their knowledge go beyond the 4 walls, meaning it can communicate to the greater aspects in their community. So that's the why I'm doing it. The next part is the who I'm doing it for. And so I want to have another student voice kind of share what she was working on here. So community partners, this is the who. So there's the why I'm doing something and there's the who I'm doing it for. So in this particular case, again, this is this project where they're working with 2 senators who wrote a bipartisan letter to the EPA about pollutants in the Hudson. And so the children are learning and working from their drafts to then go through and see how they can work with it. We've partnered with iNaturalist. Like she said, it was a virtual platform. There's 5 different images from their school environment specifically that have went out to that platform and have received research grade quality based upon the images that they put and how the children identified it. And so this is them collaborating now globally. iNaturalist is a global platform that everyone can actually communicate. So it's local scientists. And so again, when we think of the what we're doing and the who we're doing it for, when students understand that, their motivation changes completely. And so this is some of our work for community partners. It amplifies the meaning of what we do.
So the next 2 slides are going to be focused on 3rd graders. So when you see the videos, you'll see they're a little bit different. We'll start by watching our 3rd grader talking about their authentic role that they have in this experience. So 3rd graders are so funny. When I was in class that day, I was like, hey, do you guys mind if I just, take a few videos? And they get so shy, they giggle, and then they're okay. But the authentic roles, a bridge to agency. So this is them finding their identity. So there's some circumstances where yep, we have roles, and we're like, yep, this is what your role is going to be. But in this case, we gave students various roles, and we teach them to honor who you are as a person. What are your strengths? And to pick a role that you can really shine bright in what your best skill set is. And you might have more than one skill set, but to work the most efficiently in a project or to get to a final product, we need to be the very best that we are. So roles clarify. They think, okay, this is my part. And so it alleviates kids, rolling around on the floor, for a lack of a better word. Roles align. So this matters beyond my class. So right now we have various PBLs going on with different roles. So if you're doing one for Central Hudson, there might be an engineering role that ties directly to a real job at Central Hudson. So we try to keep them very authentic, roles empower, and show them I'm capable of doing this particular job. So students think beyond the classroom and consider their potential to impact the broader world. So the next one, we'll watch the video. So this was not an interview. This was the kids were like in the moment, and I paused them and I said, hold on, start again. And they were like, okay. And they were awesome explaining one of the products that they're working on. So the background of that product is we're collaborating with Ketchum High School's manufacturing class. We have third graders prototyping interactive wall art for the infusion room at Mid-Hudson Regional Hospital at the Maria Ferrari's Children Healthcare Services. And so they start off with their own ideas, and then they have to come together as a team to prototype one, because we can't send 90 or 100 prototypes to the high school. That would be too much for them to vet through. But their ideas matter. It's their voice. It's their choice of talking with their team about, this is the best part of mine. This is the best part of yours. They are managing themselves. You heard the classroom. It was an active classroom and active on the product. They were all having conversations of how to get their individual ideas to one idea. How do we take the very best so that we could send that one idea off to the high schoolers so that they can begin manufacturing it? So they're pretty awesome when you give them that voice, choice, and independence. They just own it. Their ownership grows.
So Tara said we can't send 90 different prototypes up to the high school. We have done it before to them, and they hated us for it. So we learned our lesson that that doesn't happen anymore. So in closing, really quick, the core questions, what are we looking at here? Who does this, right? Why does this work matter? Who is it for? What am I saying? How will I approach it? How independently can I manage it? This work represents me. That's ultimately what we look for in project-based learning and how we're moving through these elements that we addressed tonight and that the children shared with you tonight. So as always, thank you for having us. I hope that this is meaningful. We're extraordinarily grateful for, again, the students, the teachers, the building administrators, COS, the board members, and all of the above, because this doesn't happen without your leadership. So thank you very, very much.
Can I add one more thing? Sorry. As we stated before, if you go to the WCSD homepage, right under Dr. Bonk, you'll see that there is a link to our STEAM PBL website. And just so you know, that's not just a place to curate and showcase work, but it actually serves Wappinger's community, serves as a community partner for our students. So some projects aren't as grand, right? A Central Hudson or Mid-Hudson Regional Hospital. So we needed a grand audience in-house, and that is you, our community. So that's the purpose of that webpage, is to have a community partner to showcase our work, for everybody.
So that is just a snapshot as how we are bringing classroom learning to life. And as our staff have said, these things just don't happen. It just doesn't occur. It requires a tremendous amount of work and collaboration within our district, among our faculty and staff, support from the Board of Education, partnerships with businesses, government, large corporations, smaller businesses, local government, state government. It truly takes an entire community to prepare our students for their future. And here in Wappingers, we're doing real-world, cutting-edge activities to give them the skills and abilities necessary to be successful. And I am so thrilled that this has been recognized by the New York State School Boards Association. This also does not happen by chance. I want to thank Board President Johnson, Vice President Miggetts, all of the members of the Board of Education. They have been working tirelessly to promote these types of programs at the state level through the School Boards Association. Now, we know that last year, the New York State School Boards Association was here. Bishop John Williams, our area representative, was here to present the Board of Education with a banner and recognize the district for the work that we have done. And they are here again for the second year in a row to continue. And we want to thank them for their support at the state level and continuing to promote the wonderful things that we are doing here in Wappingers, the 9th largest school district in New York State and the largest in Dutchess County. And with that, we'll move on to the third part of the presentation, our board president, Marie Johnson. President Johnson?
Thank you, Dr. Bonk. I'd like to say it has been an honor to go to New York State School Boards Association and advocate for the amazing work that is being done in our district. I am blown away every time I go to any of the technology stuff that you guys are doing. You invite us to everything, and we are so honored to go. And what John and Tara do, and going to the Maria Ferrara and the Central Hudson, and even just going to our rocket launches. It's been a lot of fun. Trustee Miggetts and many of us go to these things on a regular basis. I have had amazing conversations with our next amazing person, Bishop John Williams. He has been so supportive of everything we've done in our district, and I would just like to turn this over to him and thank him for all that he's offered us.
Thank you. Well, good evening, everybody. It's my privilege and honor to be here today. I don't even know what to say because the presentations were just so amazing, and I have to say that it's extremely impressive what you're doing. I really don't mind coming back to Wappingers. I really like coming here because every time I come here, it's always for really good stuff. And so I took the time to, in preparation for being here yesterday. But of course, you know, we all had that snow, and I'm about done with the snow. And I'm ready to move. I've already told my wife that when we retire, we're gonna build a house in Barbados and sit in the beach sipping virgin pina coladas all day long. But in preparation for being here, I really took the time to look at the program and to review the website and all of the different things that are being done. And I have to say, I am really extremely impressed with the initiatives and the matrix and all the different things that are being done. And so I want to applaud you, Wappingers, for the staff, all of those that are a part of making this happen. I want to applaud you today on doing such a great job, great work. One of the things that I want to say on a very personal note, anybody that knows me that knows that I'm very heavy into inclusivity. And that was one of the words that was used tonight in the first presentation. And these programs, these project-based programs, are the epitome of inclusivity. It's the epitome of making sure that all of our students, no matter what their background is, no matter where they come from, no matter what their economic standing is that they all have a great opportunity to be able to learn and be able to learn in the ways that they learn. And so I'm extremely impressed. So it's my profound privilege tonight to present not just one, but two awards. Many of the initiatives in your initiative matrix and many of the programs, even along by themselves, could have been recognized individually. But we want to come, they could have been qualified for the applause of cause, the culture of caring. But tonight we want to recognize all of them, the sum total of all of the initiatives that you've done and all of the programs you've done for the champion of change. And so we have two banners that are here sitting on the table. And if you don't mind, I'll take one, the first one. The first banner is presented for the project-based learning program. And so on behalf of NYSBA, and you all have seen this, it's been sitting here already, but on behalf of NYSBA, New York State School Board Association, our director, Bob Snyder, and all of the executive board, board of directors of NYSBA, I want to present this first. I want your president and your superintendent, Dr. Bonk, my friend, to come first, and then we're going to get pictures with everybody. But I want to present this first champion of change for Wappingers Central School District Board of Education project-based learning program. That's the first banner. That's the first banner. Can you clap? But because Wappingers is just so amazing, and you all are overachievers, and I think that's a wonderful, great thing. I also want to present a second award for the project-based learning program website. I had the opportunity to go through that website, and it was absolutely amazing. One of the things that I think that is really wonderful about the website is that it offers a lot of information that will help a lot of other districts. I come from a very rich technology based district in Middletown. And but I got to tell you the truth, what you all are doing is absolutely impressive. And so I want to present this second award, Champions of Change, Wappinger Central School District Board of Education, for the STEAM Project-Based Learning Showcase. And I want to present that to you all as well. And congratulations. Congratulations, is well deserved. I'm looking forward to reading the book. I'm looking forward to reading the book. I'm looking forward to coming back next year for whatever else it is you do, because you are just absolutely amazing. This is a beautiful district, and I love coming here. So thank you, congratulations, and keep up the good work to all of the Central School District, this Board of Education. I want to say this before I sit down. The Board of Education, this job is not easy. It's not an easy job. I've spent almost 14 years now on my board. I've served 5 years as the president of my board during COVID, which, you know, the fact that I'm still able to get up and walk with is an amazing thing. And I don't just serve as you know, on the Board of Education with NISBA, but I'm also the president of the Orange County School Board Association. And so none of this work is easy. So I want to applaud each of you that sit on this Board of Education for your time, for your passion that you have for our scholars. And I say this everywhere I go. We might be competitors when it comes to getting on basketball courts and on baseball fields and on football fields. But when it comes to the education of our children, we are not competitors. We are partners, because all of our children matter. And you, Wappingers Fall, has proved beyond a shadow of a doubt, without question, that you are all for our kids, our community, our families. And again, I want to applaud you. I want to congratulate you on being recognized on today. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Bishop Williams, thank you again for representing the New York State School Boards Association, and please pass along our thanks and gratitude to Patrick Longo, as well as Bob Schneider, the Executive Director. We appreciate your support and your recognition, and we will continue to work diligently to prepare our students for their futures in an ever-changing world. So I want to thank you for that. And for any of you who may be wondering, how does this impact our secondary students? You did not see our secondary students. You saw our elementary students speak. We happen to have 2 secondary students on our board, and I'm not going to put them on the spot. But if they'd like to speak about it during their report, they certainly can. But how does this translate into preparing students to graduate from high school and move on? The New York State Education Department just released the graduation rates for the 24-25 school year, and Wappingers continues to climb. We have the second highest rate in Dutchess County at 93%. Are we satisfied with that? No. We want 100%. But we are moving in the right direction. And through programs such as project-based learning, which we are infusing at the elementary level, because it's never too early. Elementary education is the foundation of education. We continue it through the middle school, and then it continues through our high school. It's a 12-year plan to make sure that our students have the skills and abilities necessary to be successful. And one of the ways to do that is through project-based learning, which is turning into high and increased graduation rates. In addition to that, as was shown earlier, it's going to meet the requirements of the portrait of a graduate. And I must give credit where credit is due. I would like to congratulate Commissioner Rosa and the Board of Regents for adopting the portrait of a graduate and for beginning to do things differently. You noticed in the presentation this evening, the word differently came up numerous times. If we do things the way we've done them in the past, we can't expect the results to improve. We have to do things differently. We have to take risks. We have to take calculated risks, and we have to think outside the box. And that's exactly what project-based learning does. I want to thank our faculty and staff and our teachers for totally embracing this. Can we give them a round of applause? To some degree, it has been a total transformation in the classroom. And again, it is proving positive dividends. So thank you to our teachers. Thank you to our administrators for the support at the building level. Thank you to the senior staff administration for the support at the district level. And of course, these things don't happen without a supportive Board of Education. Thank you very much, Board of Education, for your ongoing and continued support of project-based learning and preparing our students for tomorrow's opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bonk. Moving on, I would like to go to 6.01, public comment on agenda items. Nothing? Okay. 6.02, communications announcements received by the Board of Education. Trustee Meggets.
Yes, I would like to congratulate the boys and girls varsity basketball teams of RCK and John Jay High School for advancing into the playoffs. The first playoff game started tonight, right, Winter, over at John Jay High School.
Yep, absolutely.
The John Jay boys took on the RCK boys, and I have information you don't.
Do you? I'm interested to hear.
Okay.
Not yet.
It just happened. It's hot off the
It started at
presses.
6. The game started at 6.
Okay. It was another close game between the two schools. No, this was a 6-point game, and John Jay is moving on. Congratulations to the John Jay Patriots.
Absolutely excellent.
But great job by Royce Ketchum athletes, because they have poured their hearts into it. Anyone else? Mr. Lumia.
I'd like to thank John and Tara for your book. I'm looking forward to reading it. And also like to thank Mr. Berto and the rest of your staff for the job that you constantly do. You are exceptional. I'm very happy to have you. And I hope you continue being with us. So thank you. I also want to congratulate Philip Kanakis, a former RCK graduate, for being recognized at the 2026 European International Music Award for Best New Age Producers. Mr. Kanakis, of course. Let's give a hand for Mr. Kanakis. Graduate. What's the magic? Oh, did I mispronounce the name? Go ahead. I'm sorry. Okay. I'll do it.
Mr. Capillari.
Yes. Last Wednesday, February 18th, marked the 80th anniversary of the establishment of the Veterans of Foreign Wars Post 5913 in Wappingers. This has important significance to Wappinger schools in that the historic Drake School, the building where they reside on School Street, was established in 1866 Upon returning home from the Second World War, in search of a post, it was Wappingers who felt it was absolutely necessary and vital that they have a home, and gifted the school to the Veterans Post, which remains an active VFW post today. So as a way of kind of connecting the past with the present, it just goes to show the important legacy and support that the Wappingers community has shown for our war comrades and veterans throughout the years.
Thank you. Anyone else? No one else. Let's go on to our student board members. Winter, you had something to say before, so we're going to let you go for it.
Excellent. First off, I would like to say go John Jay. Another victory. Our basketball team is absolutely excellent. All of our sports are absolutely excellent, but we cannot forget the effort that these student athletes put in. It is absolutely astounding to me. I knew a guy who was on the football team, and let me tell you, he was putting in 8-hour days, 6-hour days during the summer. And I am sure that those on the both boys and girls basketball teams have the same level of dedication. And that is absolutely excellent to see in our district. Again, good evening. I would like to spotlight a club. Model UN is going to be going to a conference in about 2 weeks. Now, this is an international competition. It is National High School Model United Nations. It is hosted in the city. It's about a 4-day conference. They'll be staying in the city for about 4 days, competing against the best of the best. And let me tell you, we took home awards last year, and we're going to take home a lot more this year. Thank you. Thank you. These kids, including myself, have been working extremely hard, and I believe that these are some of John Jay's best and brightest. We have people from all across the school. We have people from public speaking. We have people from robotics. We have people from absolutely everyone in John Jay, all walks of life. And let me tell you, they've been putting in incredible work, and the quality and the dedication to that work is, again, incredible. And we are definitely going to see what holds out. I'm hoping for a lot of awards, but we shall see. I have no doubt that these kids will pull through. They're absolutely excellent. Other than that, going back to the previous topic of today's presentation with project-based learning, I would like to thank all those involved in installing project-based learning. I know this presentation was based on the primary schools and the middle schools, but I do want to talk about the secondary schools quickly. As you guys know, the main project-based learning campaign at John Jay High School is where the students literally build a car. They engineer it, they design it, and they drive it at the end of the year. And that is, personally, the only thing I can do on a car is change my oil and change my tires. But being able to do anything more than that is just so, so impressive. And it shows the real life skills that project-based learning is doing, and that how students are putting their absolute all into their work because it represents them. And I think, as I'm sure everyone knows, no two students learn the same. And programs like this allow every single student, regardless of their strengths and differences, to not only succeed, but excel. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Winter. Ash, what do you have for us over at Orchard View?
Unfortunately, no sports highlights since we do not have a team at Orchard View. But our seniors are all in the process of planning lives after high school with our school counselor, including me. And the Natural Alliance on Mental Illness, or NAMI, is an organization aiming to speak with students about mental health and local support systems that are accessible to them, and we'll be learning from them, our students, on February 26th with a brief presentation, short videos, and a personal testimony from a young adult describing their journey to recovery. Other than that, we unfortunately are continuing to have issues regarding breakfast and lunch in terms of food hygiene. But the principal and I are continuing to work on it, and that's all I have.
Thank you. And just so you know, you can start planning your pickleball contest with Dr. Bonk. I hear he likes to do that every year.
Do you have a field for us?
Oh, I know
You guys
things.
don't know about that, do
Yeah, I heard
We've
about the
got all the
pickleball in
students ready to
parking
play.
lot.
We just
I'm
need a
saying,
field.
I know it's coming. That being said, just a reminder, Van Wyck has their play coming up this weekend. So anybody that wants to go, it's, I believe, Wednesdays. No, Yeah, Friday. Newsies is the play. Sorry, I'm trying to remember all the plays coming up. I got a lot of them in my head. So we do have that one coming up. And then just a quick note for anybody listening, our next board meeting will be at Royce C. Ketchum because WAP Junior will be in deep preparations for theirs, Legally Blonde, which will be following that week. So just to let you know, if you are coming to the next board meeting, we will be at Royce C. Ketchum. I just wanted to put that out there just in case. So next up is 7.01 consent agenda. Does anybody want to remove anything from the consent agenda? Seeing none.
Resolved that the Board of Education does hereby approve the following consent agenda items as stated. 7.02, 7.03, 7.04, 7.05, 7.06, 7.07, 7.08, 7.09, 7.10, 7.11, 7.12, and 7.13.
Motion, Mr. Lumia, second, Mr. McFarland. All those in favor? Unanimous? Eight 8.01, second reading and adoption of policies.
Resolved that the Board of Education of the Wappinger Central School District hereby approves the second reading of and adopts the following policies based on the first reading by the board and the recommendation of the policy committee as stated.
Do I have a motion? Mr. Lumia, second, Mr. McFarland. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor? Unanimous? Is there any additions to the agenda? No? 10.01, comments from the public. Is there any comments? No? 11.01, can I get a motion?
Resolved that the Board of Education does hereby adjourn the February 24th, 2026 Board of Education meeting. The time is 8:42.
Motion, Mr. Lumia, second. Mr. Morgan, all those in favor? Unanimous? Thank you, everyone. See you at Royce C. Ketchum next time.